Hi, this is James Malinchak, featured on ABC's hit TV show, Secret Millionaire, and welcome. I am so excited to be here and share some wonderful ideas with you in this interview with my good friend, Mike Jizmejian. Mike, how you doing, buddy? Welcome.
Good. Thanks for having me.
I'm glad you're here. Thanks for being here. So, Mike, tell everybody a little bit about what you do.
I am a tennis pro. I've been at it for over 45 years.
I thought you were 21 years old.
Thank you. Thank you. I've created a tennis association that helps kids and parents navigate through those beginning years with their development on the tennis court.
And so why do you do this? I mean, obviously you're a tennis pro, but why do you like helping kids, and not only that, but parents, and having them work together in this plan of successful tennis?
Well, when you're on the other side of this as a player, my parents was not involved at all. So there was a good thing about them not being involved, because I didn't have to deal with their acceptance or their love conditioned upon me winning or losing. It was strictly me playing on the tennis court. And then when I started developing kids, I noticed that the parent had an integral role in their development and watching a positive or a negative action happen on their development.
So what do you find is one of the biggest challenges? Let's just talk in general, parents with their child that plays tennis. What's one of the biggest challenges there in that situation?
Is helping the parent stay out of their own way and trusting the process. So they think they're helping, and most of the time they're not, especially as a child gets some success and starts developing. They think what they have to say will help their child. And in most cases, it actually is a deterrent, and it is a negative effect on the child. And again, it'll fracture that relationship. And I hate to tell it to you parents, but they probably may not be number one in the world at any time. And so what's left is what you have, and it's real important to have that father or parent-child relationship intact.
Do you then find that, when parents start to over coach or give advice, that it starts to create this with the coach of the player?
Yes.
So talk about that for a moment.
It will be at such an effect that it undermines the coach. And what will happen in the child...
Even though the parent may not realize
they're not even right. So there's a projection of what they're doing that the child is receiving. And the child is going to not trust the coach because the parent is criticizing them, how they're coaching in front of the child. So there is a little kink in the coach's armor, and every future coach thereafter.
Oh, so it sets the tone.
Correct.
Well, and it could be that the child could get confused. It could be conflicting advice. My coach is saying this, but mom or dad's saying this, and so now you have a player, kid who should be enjoying what they're doing, but they're out there overthinking, which leads to more pressure on themselves.
Correct.
Which leads to usually failure or adversity during playing tennis.
Correct.
Which leads to self-doubt and lack of confidence, and not only on that court, they probably carry it with them in life.
Correct.
So talk about what a parent could do to not stir that pot up, if you will, of giving advice, conflicting advice, because it's hard. I mean, let's face it, it's hard, right? So how do you not give the advice, but give the advice? You know what I mean? Because I'm sure that's a battle parents have.
They do. And being a parent myself of 4 kids that all played competitive tennis, at 16 seasons just in high school, of me being a parent, a father to kids that are my own blood.
Right.
And I know the feeling that a parent will have while they're watching a kid play tennis. And so my best advice would be, typically the child will come off and come directly to the parent early on. So the question would be, what do you say to the child when they come off the court?
So let me interrupt. Is that the most crucial time there?
Well, right there, when they come off. And hopefully you haven't done anything foolish while the match was going on.
well, and if you got escorted out to the parking lot, that would count as foolish,
yeah,
right?
Foolish, not too good. So the question would be, and the parents come to me because of my geographical area. Everybody knows that I've taught a lot of kids, and they want to know what I tell my kids. And when they come off the court, I tell them, do you want something to eat or do you want something to drink? And that's it. And the parents didn't believe me that I do that. So they would
That's it. Nothing about tennis.
Nothing.
Nothing about the match.
Nothing.
Nothing about why did that last shot, you know how to hit a drop shot better than why didn't you? None of that.
None.
It's just what do you that's brilliant.
Now I am the life coach, which is the parent's role, and I let the coach be the coach. But it's hard for a parent to not get involved with that because they have a financial and time, emotionally, they're all tied to it.
Sure.
So that's the best advice. Number 2 would be is not to discuss any tennis match that has been played unless the child brings it up first.
You know, I have to tell you that you are 100% correct. My father, when I played high school basketball, now I was very blessed that we won a state championship, and I was a pretty good individual player. Also as a team we were, but I won certain awards, played in a bunch of all-star tournaments, got many Division I basketball offers, signed Division I basketball scholarship. And as you say this, it hit me that my father would sit at every game, and he never said a word. He was never emotional, screaming at the top of his lungs. The official could make a bad call that was incorrect. He wouldn't say a word. After the game, he never said a word to me. I would come home and I could have a very bad performance, and I was a student, like I was a gym rat, like it would eat me up. I'd put the game tape in, and I'd start watching the game, video to see where I messed up and I would sit there. My dad would be sitting there, just like you're sitting here. He'd be on the couch or something, and I would say, "Oh gosh, that was just a dumb play," or "Why did the referee make that?" And he never said a word unless I asked. So I can tell you that I was one of the top players in our state. And we were very successful as a unit, but I was also very blessed to be successful as an individual. And looking back, I can tell you that was one of the most important reasons.
It didn't cause any messiness. We call it grand central brain in tennis. And so there's
grand central brain?
Yeah.
All this stuff.
All this stuff going on, and they can't even keep track of the score because there's so much activity up there.
Yeah.
And so if you don't have the parent, which takes away usually 50% of that wasted energy,
right,
life's a lot easier.
Yeah, so it gets all those thoughts and overthinking and the chaoticness and the, okay, am I doing this? I never had any of that. And I could just go out and play. Even if I didn't play well.
Good for you.
Yeah. Well,
so it wasn't conditioning.
Thanks for my dad, who's upstairs now. Okay, so what if there is a coach sharing certain ideas, and you've got a parent who is sharing other advice and ideas? And now here's the biggie. What if, as the parent, you absolutely do know more than maybe what the coach is sharing? How do you still not involve yourself and cause that messiness? Because I will tell you, my father was a top basketball official. He knew more than a lot of my coaches about the game, and he still never said anything. So advise a parent, how does somebody, because that's a tough one.
It is. I believe that you have to take direct and intentional action for yourself to overcome that. To this day, when my kids are playing, I want to get in there and coach them. To this day.
Sure.
To this day. But it takes all my energy to stay neutral on the sideline, no negative emotion one way or the other. And when either player makes a good shot, I'm clapping for both sides.
That's really neat.
And so my kids know that they're playing for them, not for me. Or my wife, or whoever the case may be. So it's getting them in the right mindset to get them to perform. And if they're going to do it for the parent or condition upon love or whatever parents will do, it just gets the process all twisted up.
Now, I know you run this great tennis association. You got great tournaments.
Yes.
So talk a little bit about why you started hosting tournaments, for the students and the kids.
Well, I found that when I was developing the kids, their next step would be go out and start playing. So a little bit of playing tennis with a little bit of pressure. And that usually tells us their weakness, and they want to see how good they really are. But most of the time they would go to a tournament and you literally get annihilated.
Right.
And got beat bad. And there's 300 or 400 kids at the site, and it's so overwhelming. And all my pep talk and encouragement was never quite enough to they were so depressed. So I felt like we needed to do something in between. So that's how I started. So we designed a format that whether they won or lost, they continued to play. So a round robin. So they got 50% of the kids usually got a trophy.
Sure.
And whether they win or lose, again, they continue to play. The parents liked it because it was in a 3-hour period of time instead of an entire weekend.
Right.
And the kids got a lot of tennis in 3 hours. So everybody won instead of playing maybe a match for 30 minutes or 45 minutes, and that's it. So
as an entry into the tournament, I get to play.
Yes.
It's not like I lose, I'm knocked out.
Right.
Right?
Everybody plays the same amount.
That's now there are winners and losers who winners keep advancing, but everybody plays the same amount.
Right.
So everybody's growing and getting better, even though your talent, skills, and abilities may not be up to some of the kids who are winning.
Correct.
You keep playing, and that we all know the only way you get better is to play, and to play against students and kids who are better than you.
Correct.
Right? And keep practicing and honing your skills. I love that format. And what I love is your format is unique now that you not only are running your own tournaments, but now you're going to start branching out. It's a vision of yours to have these types of tournaments everywhere.
Correct.
And why is that important to you?
Because I think the tennis is a unique sport where you can't get, there's no substitutes. You're kind of out there playing and it's just you. There is no timeouts. You're going to play, good or bad. Everybody's going to see you, and you're playing. On you go.
And it's your responsibility. You're the one playing.
Correct. So you can't even get close to blaming somebody else. And what'll happen is there inevitably will be a bad call, because at that level there's no referees. You have to make your own calls, and the line calls are sometimes not so good, but it's teaching them how to react to a bad call, like life. You get wronged.
Sure.
So your next approach is, what are my choices here? If am I too aggressive and beat them over the head with a tennis racket, I'm probably not going to feel too good. Or number two is, if I don't say anything and let them take advantage of me, I'm not going to feel good about myself. So teaching them how, if you're still remembering that situation 3 or 4 points down the road, you probably didn't handle it correctly, and give them options of how you can handle that. So those are just kind of life experiences. That's why it works so well.
So your uniqueness, what I love about your tournaments, is you're not just having the kids play equal amounts so they're all getting better with their talent. You're really teaching them life skills.
Yes.
So most of the tournaments I've seen, it's, hey, here are the rackets, here are the balls, get out there and go play, and we give trophies and T-shirts out and all that, and it's all about the tennis. But your creation of the formula, Mike's formula for tournaments, if you will, is that you're really helping them be a complete kid.
Yes.
Respectful on and off the court, critical thinking, critical decisions, making decisions that are going to be a positive for the future, not negative. Ball goes out, I'll fix him. I'll call the next 3 out on purpose. So you're really teaching them about life, more important. I had a friend who was a basketball coach, says, I love coaching these young ladies. It's Coach Tony, who was on Secret Millionaire with me. I love coaching these young ladies about basketball, but I love coaching them about life more. So someone wants to find you. Is there a website they can go to? How do they find Mike or Mike's tournaments?
It's Mike Jizmejian at yahoo.com. Mike, MikeJizmejian at yahoo.com.
And so, Mike, here's what I want you to do. Last 30 seconds, there are parents or kids watching, and they love this tennis, and they obviously love being parents to their kid. The kid love having the parents as the parents, right? So what's your parting thoughts, your parting words of wisdom to them watching?
Don't sweat the small stuff. It's all small stuff. It's not a big deal. Just go out and have fun. It'll take its course the way it's supposed to, but if you overthink it, overdo it, it's all going to get twisted and no one's going to have any fun. So just let it happen, and it'll happen the way it's supposed to.
I think that's all we have to say about that. That was awesome. Thank you, Mike, for being
welcome.
here.